Hey there, moms. Welcome to episode 26. Today, I have some great words of wisdom from a lady who has lived 90 years. You'll want to hear what she has to tell you about faith, family, and forgiveness. Stay tuned. Hello, moms. Welcome to the Front Parking Spot podcast. I am so glad you're here. I'm Jennifer Bosma, wife, mom, grandma, former teacher for 23 years, and now a Christian children's book author and your podcast host. Are you a faith-based mom trying to live out a Christian life for your family? Do you want to learn more ways that you can have power over your child's spiritual growth? Inside this podcast, you will find tried and true ideas to grow in your faith and be the best wife and mom you can be. So listen in as you're cleaning up, doing the drive, or matching that sock. And be encouraged to know that God has his front parking spot set aside for you. Hello, welcome to the Front Parking Spot. I am so excited to have you here because I have my 90-year-old mom, Joan, and she is doing amazing. And she has raised 4 children. She has how many grandchildren, Mom?
At this point, we have 19. When Melissa's baby is born, she will be my 20th great-grandchild.
So she has 20 great-grandchildren. And how many grandkids?
16.
16 grandchildren and 20 great-grandchildren. And I am the baby of 4. And yes, I was a baby, so I'm 9 years younger than my oldest sister. So all of you moms who may find out that you're surprisingly pregnant with an extra baby that you weren't planning on, God has a plan for those babies. Here I am at number 4, and we have a lot of fun, don't we, Mom?
We do. We do.
Yes. Well, this is my mom. Her name is Joan. I may have said that already. And she was like, what am I going to say on this recording? But she has so much knowledge. So I want you, Mom, to tell our listeners just some advice. You've been through it all. You've been through a lot of things in your life. What is the number one thing that has kept you going through your life?
Well, it's the Lord. The Lord has given me strength, given me courage, given me everything I need to raise my lovely family.
Mm-hmm. And you pray a lot, don't you, Mom?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
I do pray. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and your mom prayed a lot, too. Your mom was a prayer warrior, Elsie.
Actually, my mom, Elsie, she prayed a lot. She had prayer books. I don't have that. I have a few things that I look at, but I don't have prayer books. I just kind of say it to myself in my head. And of course, a lot of times I'm Catholic, I go to Mass and I pray at Mass. And it's just a little different the way I pray, but I'm sure it still goes up to heaven.
Oh, absolutely, Mom. I think your personal prayers that you just say from your heart are more important than a prayer book, because a prayer book someone writes, and a prayer book is a great launch place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's nothing wrong with prayer books, but I think it's just great to pray all the time. And I had an episode a couple of weeks ago where I talked about all the different places to pray. It was in one of my early, I think maybe podcast number 8 or something, but it was talking about all the different places to pray. Yes. So tell me more advice that you would give moms with multiple children that are busy and may have some storms in their life, or just give me some advice for moms from your 90 years.
It all kind of falls in place. You know, Jennifer was our last child, and her dad and I waited quite a while for her. And so by the time she was born, she was 9 years younger than her oldest sister and my oldest child. So she's always been the brute.
You know, that wasn't my nickname. But what's funny is a lot of times when you found out you were pregnant with me, my dad's mom, my grandma, was not pleased with my mom.
Oh, no. She did not believe in families. I mean, she had 2 children of her own, and she was actually mad at me. She thought I got her son corralled in the bedroom somewhere. And it was really, but, her son, Jennifer's dad, he just kind of laughed it off.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's a great advice for moms, like when they find out they're pregnant and their family members may be like, what? You can't afford another baby? Because that's what I remember you told me, Grandma told you about me, that you're giving him another mouth to feed. And that was back in the 60s. And But, I was great. I was Grandma Mabel. That was her name. I was Grandma Mabel's little buddy. And I remember she died quite young from emphysema.
Right.
And I remember sitting when I was 5 years old, sitting on the sofa with her. And while she was taking her I like to say breathing hits, she was sitting on there.
And she learned to love you.
Yeah.
She did learn to love you. But she was not happy, but it was not because of you. It was because of all the work, like you just said, her son would have to do to raise you, send you to college and all that stuff.
So that's an encouragement to you moms. If you're getting some grief, if you're expecting another baby and you're getting some grief from family members, and even in the pregnancy center, when we have moms that come in with an unplanned pregnancy and we tell them, like, please talk to your parents. There's going to be a time when your parents need that, wait, what? You're pregnant? What are you thinking? Or I knew that guy and I knew he was blah, blah, blah. You've heard it all. But parents need some time to absorb it too. And they may give you a knee-jerk reaction like of, oh my gosh, what do you mean? But then over time, they're not going to know what they would do without. In the case of me, because Grandma and I were big, big buddies. And I actually do remember when she died at a very young age.
Yeah, and she really loved you too. I mean, she grew to love you. And I know that she probably had thoughts in her mind, but she never said anything. But why did I think that? I think that she probably did because she loved little kids and she loved her son almost so much that she didn't want him to marry me. But
yeah, she was kind of protective. Well, another cool thing about my mom too, another cool thing about my mom is when I was younger, my dad drank a lot. And so he had an alcoholic problem and he had kind of an experience when we had a big boat. He was a big real estate guy in the 70s and we had a boat in the backyard and he thought the engine was on. And we were always very Catholic. We always would go to church every weekend. Every Sunday we'd go to church. And my dad actually converted to Catholicism for my mom and her family. But what was really one night, he knew he was always like a nice drinker. He was always very nice, but he knew at one point he needed to change his life. And I think what's so cool about it is when Dad he thought it was the middle of the night and he thought he heard our boat generator on. And you can correct me, I'll tell the story, Mom, and you can jump in. And he thought he heard the boat on. So in the middle of the night, there was a storm and he went outside to turn the boat off. Well, while he was stepping on the boat, he fell between the seawall and the boat. And he prayed to Jesus, please, Lord, if you get me out of this, I will stop drinking. And all of a sudden, the waters calmed. And lo and behold, he wasn't a great swimmer. My dad was really never athletic, was he? But he made it to the ladder and he climbed out. And at that point, that was the last time he drank. And he went to AA and he changed his life. Did I get the story right, Mom?
That's right. That's right.
And you had gone through it. You were dealing with a husband who you didn't like how much he was drinking and you knew he needed to stop. And you stuck with that.
But I must add, Jennifer, that your dad was not a fall down drunk. I don't want people to think that he drank very quietly. And
he was nice. He was a nice,
very
kind.
He was not like, you think of a drinker, always kind of, la, 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 la.
Yeah.
But we had a big house and he was very respectful. We had a bar that he had. But I would drink, maybe have a drink before dinner. I was not a drinker. I didn't come from a drinking family, but his mother and dad always had a bottle of whiskey on the kitchen counter. And they would never walk in the room with a drink in their hand, but they would also always go in the kitchen and have a shot.
They would sneak it. Oh my goodness.
They didn't really sneak it. I mean, we all knew what they were doing, but that's how they drank. And I don't know, your dad never did that. If he had a drink, he had a mixed drink.
He wasn't hiding anything. But I think it's cool because, Dad knew that he had to make a change in his life. And he knew that wasn't healthy for his life. So he stopped drinking and you stuck with him. It was your faith that got you through. And then a lot of things went down because, a lot of things went on with their real estate company during that time because of the drinking. And, he was just so nice.
It was not only the drinking that the real estate company went down, times went down. We had recessions. And when you're living in South Florida with recession going on, people don't buy houses. So
And then his vice president was kind of sneaking money out of the company that he wasn't aware of.
We had a big real estate office right in the corner of Bayview and Commercial. And we didn't really realize that our lady that took care of all she was really the secretary, everything.
Yeah, she was a bookkeeper, wasn't she? Yeah.
But anyway, I didn't work at all in those days. Of course, I took care of the children, but we had a good life.
And you got through that rough patch.
That's right.
They lost their real estate company during the Chapter 11 and the early 70 downfall with real estate. They had like how many offices? 9 offices.
Yeah.
They were kind of like real estate moguls in the Fort Lauderdale and Miami area. And that kind of between the drinking and the downfall in the 70s. But mom and dad stuck together. They stuck together in their faith. We always went to church on Sundays. And he was a lay minister. He was very involved in church. He was in the choir. And he loved to play the organ. And a couple weeks ago, I think I told people that my dad took me to a Billy Graham crusade in Bibletown in Boca Raton because he played the organ there. Remember, he played the organ. So he always had the gift of music. But I think, Mom, your message to young girls and moms is that your life may get tricky, but you just have to have faith in God. And Mom always showed us that. And she always was very faithful, and she's always been very prayerful. Right. Okay, let's think. Any other advice that you can give mamas?
Well, let me think. I'm thinking of my children as they grew up. That's when you have to really have faith in the Lord to protect them, to get them through the rough times. And they all went to college, and they were all on their own, and they were all plagued with different things that happened. I mean, they had friends that were rough and wild, and they tried to I don't know how to explain this, but they got through it all.
Teenager things, you know?
Yeah. And
all of the kids were different. All of us are very different. And I think sometimes moms you may have a child that's just like you or like your husband, or you may butt heads with somebody. And that's okay. It's okay because God makes each child the way he wants to make them. And they're not all carbon copies of each other. They're going to be different. How did you love us all the same? Like, what did you do to make sure that you loved us all?
That's a hard question. That's a hard question to answer. I mean, because I was always so thrilled when we were all together, when we were all home, and, Julie wasn't off to college and Jay wasn't da-da-da. And
well, we always had family dinners.
Yeah, we always had Sunday dinners, always. And to this day, I think, well, aren't you having a Sunday dinner? But no, nobody has Sunday dinners anymore, I guess. Well, maybe they do.
But I would encourage moms. I did one about the power of like eating together and having time together and building your,
and talking together and
turning TV off.
Yeah.
Turning your phone off.
Yeah.
Right?
We didn't have phones then like that. We had to run to the kitchen or something.
I know. Mom was mad at me one time when I was 30-something and I had all 3 of my girls, and I was driving to Orlando from Atlanta, and you're like, Jennifer, you need to get a cell phone. So it was you who
really?
Yeah, it was
I
you.
didn't know that. I don't remember that.
It was Mom who said, you're driving on the road. You need a cell phone. So I think I was 32 before I had a cell phone, and I was taking all 3 girls down to Orlando.
Oh, my gosh. And then the one time Julie was driving, remember, we had a little putt-putt car. I don't know. Well, she must have, I don't know if it's her car or what, but her car broke down. She had the little kids in the car. Oh my gosh.
No phone.
Yeah.
So put your phones down.
Yeah.
Talk, have family time, pray together. We always would say prayers before dinner.
Always.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, great, Mom. So, all right. So what would be your wish for all of your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren? If you can give them one piece of advice before we close.
Oh my gosh. Just love your parents. I mean, they try to do the best they can. And sometimes it's kind of hard for the children to take it and realize that they've been through life and they know what they're talking about. And that's the one thing I can pass on to you as you raise your family. To think about all that. And
that's a Bible verse too. Honor your father and mother and you will have a long life. Right. That's in Proverbs. So, and forgive. I mean, if your parents have ever done anything wrong to you, you can forgive. Mom, you haven't. You're good. Mom and I have
Thank
always
you.
had a lot of fun. I would hang out with her all the time.
She was, in fact, she talks about going down to the laundry room with me when we lived in a condominium.
On Friday nights, here's Mom and I hanging out doing wash. Well, you're 90, and Mom is, one thing I want to tell you about my mom is she is very enthusiastic, and she's very encouraging, and she's very kind, and she's very friendly, and she's very talkative. So you think I'm talkative? Mom, you're pretty talkative.
Oh my gosh.
But I think she has given me the gift of enthusiasm, the gift of joy, the gift of kindness. So I think, and Mom will tell you, and when you're going through life, you don't always just be cheerful to people because you never know what they've been going through.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
I'm known. I live in a facility now for older.
Well, a senior center. It's fun.
It's a senior center, but I'm always known as so friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows me. I know everybody. Sometimes I forget their names. I mean, I am 90, and
that's okay.
But anyway,
she forgets technology thing too. So
yeah,
if you have parents,
and luckily I have my children to help me.
Yes,
and I'll say Jennifer, Julie, da 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 da, and Jay. And my boys are real good to me too. Both my girls and my boys, they're perfect children.
Oh yes, we're just so perfect.
Even though they all went through their growing up. That's what I call it.
Yeah,
they grew up to get through it, and they're all raising nice families now.
Oh, yes. We're very blessed. We have a very close family. We love family weddings.
Yeah.
We love getting together.
Oh, I know. We're waiting for somebody else. I mean, it's time for Stephanie to get married pretty soon.
Okay.
She's not ready yet.
She's my second daughter, so we'll see. I have two unmarried still, so maybe they'll get married soon, and we can have that family reunion again, right, Mom?
We always have such a good time when we're all together.
Well, you have to stay. You have to stay on this side, and we know, Mom. Where are you going when you do die? Where are you going?
Oh, I'm going to heaven. I mean, I hope I can do.
Yes, you are, because you have Jesus in your heart.
That's right. I hope so.
And it's fun, even though, being raised Catholic, Mom has gotten really involved in Bible studies in her senior center.
Oh, yeah. I'm in a Bible study, and there's several different denominations of different religions in that room, but we all talk, and it's very, very encouraging. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I don't know, it's just, we all like it.
And we talk about, too, there's no denominational doors in heaven. You're wherever if you're Catholic or Methodist or Baptist or non-denominational, that's just where you grow in your relationship here on earth. Mm-hmm. There's not like a Catholic door to get in heaven or a Methodist door or a Baptist door. It's where we go on earth here is building our relationship. So when we go into heaven, we can go, heaven's for everybody, and heaven is for everyone who has learned about him and has accepted the Lord. It's a free gift. Eternal life is a free gift that God gives us when we accept him as our Lord and Savior. And we know Dad's there. Dad has passed away. Is it 7 years now?
Right. 7 years.
Coming up on 7 years.
Yep.
My dad loved the Lord, and he taught me a lot about Jesus. And actually, when I was going through rough patches, he told me about the devil. He's like, that's just demonic. That's just the devil.
Remember when you were little and you were afraid of different things?
Oh, yeah. I was afraid. I'd go upstairs in my bed and I'd be like, wait, the door's unlocked. And I'd come back down and look, and then I'd go back upstairs in my bed and the door's unlocked, and it wasn't unlocked. But he's like, that's just the devil. You just trust in Jesus and know he has you safe, and you put your trust in him. So he taught me that, because the Catholic Church really didn't talk a lot about the devil.
No.
But he taught me when I had like scared or bad thoughts or something to take. Mm-hmm. And I think it was in my second episode, number 2, about taking every thought into the obedience of Christ. And Dad taught me that. But yeah, we already talked. You'll be in heaven with Dad and all your relatives and your mom. And you're one of the last ones left, right?
I am. All my siblings now are gone. I'm the last one.
And cousins and everyone, right? You're it.
Everybody's gone.
But she's got us.
But now I got my own kids. So if I watch them with their families, the families grow up and this and that. And just
4 kids, 16 grandkids, and 20 great-grandchildren.
Yeah.
All right, Mom. Well, I thank you for this candid interview. I mean, an interview with a 90-year-old mom. And I think your moms would echo the same thing my mom echoes when they're faith-based. And I'm grateful for you that you taught me about Jesus, and you took me to church, and I would always sit with you, and we had celebrations at every holiday, and you have really grown from religion to relationship. And I'm so proud of you for doing that, because you have a relationship with the Lord. Well, thank you, mamas, for listening in. I hope that this has, really kind of touched your heart with this candid interview. And just know, and I like to tell, I'm going to leave everyone with this, the rocking chair test. And what I like to tell people in your life, give everything the rocking chair test. If you are sitting in your rocking chair when you're 90, like you, and if you have no regrets in your life, you have done well.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
oh, my goodness.
Yes, think
Absolutely.
about that. So when you're trying to make a decision, think about it. Will I have a regret about this when I'm 90 years old? And if your answer is, I may regret that when I'm 90 years old.
Oh, I never thought of that.
No, but don't do it. But that's what I tell women in the pregnancy center.
Oh,
I do.
Yeah.
I tell them.
Yeah. See, that is all different now than when I was young. They didn't have pregnancy centers and things like that.
Right. Well, yeah. But what I do is I tell women that, are very surprised with an unplanned pregnancy, you'll never regret a baby. And you'll never regret number 4, even though grandma was like, wait, what? Your father can't.
Not my mother.
No, great. My dad's mom. You can't, you don't give him another mouth feed. But I always like to say, give everything the rocking chair test. And if when you're 9 years old, you don't want to ever regret anything. So use that, moms. Think about your decisions. If you're making a life decision, if it may not, you're going to pray about it. But if you feel that it's not, that you're going to regret this when you're 90, don't do it. Thanks again, Mom, for being here on the Front Parking Spot podcast and for always letting me go for that front parking spot in life and your constant encouragement and enthusiasm for life.
You're very welcome, my dear.
Have a good day, listeners.
Bye-bye.
Well, mamas, thank you so much for joining in. I know you are super busy doing all the things that can consume your day, but you took a couple of minutes to learn how God wants to build you up in your faith, family, and life, and He wants to applaud you for this. Please subscribe and review my show. This helps other moms tune in as well. I'd love to connect with you on Instagram at Front Parking Spot, on Facebook at Front Parking Spot Mom Community, or my website at jenniferbosma.com. Have an Ephesians 3:20 type of day, mamas, and be encouraged as you go for the front parking spot in your life today. God bless.